Last summer, over half the teachers in the St. Regis Falls Central School District quit and took jobs in other school districts. Imagine that, especially in a small community. Half your teachers, counselors, staff, gone. That's a crisis. This year, school is open, and the district and the community may be a little bit better for getting through that crisis. We return to St. Regis Falls a year later for today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, September 8th. First up, federal immigration authorities arrested 8 people during a traffic stop in Ogdensburg last week. WWNY-TV reports eyewitnesses saw the scene on the morning of September 3rd. U.S. Border Patrol officials say agents pulled over 2 cars near Knox Street. A spokesperson for the agency said in a statement each vehicle had 4 passengers who were in the country illegally. All 8 of them were arrested and taken to the Ogdensburg Border Patrol station for processing. The spokesperson said they'll be turned over to ICE. Governor Kathy Hochul is declaring a health emergency to help New Yorkers get COVID vaccines. Jimmy Vilkind of the New York Public News Network reports on her executive order.
Hochul says uncertainty over federal vaccine policy is creating a barrier to getting COVID boosters this year. Her order allows pharmacists to distribute vaccines without an individual prescription.
I don't understand why you won't let families have the choice to protect their children's health. That's what this is about.
The order lasts 30 days. COVID vaccines will be available to people aged 3 and older. That's a broader group than the federal FDA recommended last month. That agency only approved COVID boosters for people 65 and older or with underlying medical conditions. Other states, including Massachusetts, have taken similar steps to increase access to COVID vaccines this year. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vilkind for the New York Public News Network.
The St. Regis Mohawk tribe is another step closer to settling a decades-old land claim. Governor Hochul signed off on the settlement last week, sending it to Congress for final approval. The land claim deal would return 3,500 acres of land to Akwesasne Mohawk territory. Mohawks would also have the right to buy an additional 14,000 acres from willing sellers in northern St. Lawrence and Franklin counties. The New York Power Authority would also pay the tribe $70 million over 35 years, since a state-owned dam is on land that's part of the land claim. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik sponsored the bill to move the deal forward. In a statement on Friday, Stefanik said she would move quickly to ratify the, quote, historic land agreement. So, St. Regis Falls Central School was rocked by so many teachers quitting last year. What provoked it was contention between teachers and the district superintendent, and a lot of turmoil on the school board. 1 year later, with a new school year underway, Amy Feiereisel has an update on where the district is now.
When school started last year, the St. Regis Falls Central School District had a reduced staff, a lot of new teachers, and about a dozen fewer students in a school of just 200. Morale was low. Many people blamed that on the superintendent, Nicole Eschler, who had started about a year and a half earlier. Teachers complained of being talked down to and micromanaged. Maggie Engels was the school board president then and now.
It just felt like the wound kept getting bigger. Our staff wasn't happy, and therefore it was trickling down into, our students, into activities.
She says the school needed to start a process of healing.
And it just became evident to me that that wasn't going to be able to happen with our current administration.
In late December, the school board bought out Superintendent Eschler's contract early. She left on January 1st of this year. The board meeting where that happened was tense. Former longtime teacher Jamie LaRue says people showed up to see the district turn the page.
Quite a few old teachers, quite a few community members went, and it was all for the vote. It was not warm and fuzzy, for sure.
Then the school board started the search for a new leader. Board President Engels says the current board wanted to avoid an issue of the past, the board choosing a new superintendent that the staff was not excited about.
The teachers and the non-instructional staff, they needed a much more big level of involvement in choosing this next administrator so that we could try and eliminate any of the issues that we had before.
In the end, Engels says the board and the stakeholder groups, teachers, staff, parents and students, and the wider community, all settled on one person.
Ultimately, it was unanimous.
They chose Denise Howbaker, who actually came out of retirement to apply for the job. Howbaker spent most of her educational career in Western New York, but came back to the North Country, where she grew up in Moira, in 2015. And she has close ties to St. Regis Falls. She spent a lot of time there as a child. She bought a house and has been living there for the past few years. She's a member of the fire department and on the board of the local adult center. Everyone I spoke with said those local ties were a big plus for her as a candidate. Lynn Potter-Damon has been teaching in the district for over 30 years.
Mrs. Howbaker, I always call her Denise because I've known her since she was 10. She's a local girl. So we have that chance of holding on to her for a while.
The school has had a lot of different administrators. There's a widely held sentiment that people use the district as a stepping stone and then move on. But as a semi-local, people are excited about Howbaker's staying power. She says she felt that in the application process.
I had so much community support. It was incredible. So yes, I do feel in a roundabout way, I do feel as though being part of this community is really vital to the success of moving the school forward.
In terms of staying, Howbaker says she's committed.
It's definitely the final stop. I will give them as many years as I can. It's not a stepping stone for me, and I'm here for the long haul.
Several teachers told me morale is up considerably in the school and credited a lot of that to frequent communication and an open door policy from Howbaker since she came in on July 1st. Alexis Chapman is the assistant to the superintendent and board secretary. She called Howbaker a breath of fresh air.
Because she trusts us to do our job. She collaborates with us. She asks us our opinions and how we can help and what she can do to help us.
Going into this new school year, teachers say things feel a lot better. The school board, which had been its own revolving door in the past, is stable. And they've hired back positions that were eliminated last year, including special education teachers and aides. Pamela Susi, a longtime teacher and the co-president of the Teachers Union, says while last year's big staff turnover was a challenge, the new teachers are more settled now.
They have a love for the kids. They know that St. Regis Falls Central School is a family, but the fact that the new teachers coming in are a good fit for this school and for the environment and for the culture.
Susi brought up the culture of the school a few times and says the new superintendent, Denise Howbaker, understands it.
I think that's a big thing because we are a small town and there are expectations.
Could you actually explain what the expectations and culture are?
Caring about the kids, that the kids are not a number.
In many ways, understanding the school culture is also understanding St. Regis Falls. And Howbaker is what the community has said it's wanted for a long time, a local person who gets it. I asked a group of teachers if that insider-outsider dynamic may have contributed to previous administrators leaving. Alexis Chapman, the assistant to the superintendent and a former student of the district, put it this way.
There shouldn't be a right and a wrong way to live in a town, come to a school, if you come to do your job. But there is.
Yeah.
And if you immediately come into this town, into this building and shut everybody out and you walk around like you're the head honcho and you're the only one that's in charge, the community's not going to accept you.
What everyone I spoke with wanted was stability, a constant board, a long-term superintendent, a little more boring, so they can get back to the real work of teaching and celebrating students. They're hopeful that's the path they're on now. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Danny Thomas of Canton. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.